This was the site of our old bonsai garden, and this is the Circidifilum that we planted. Goodness me, what a lot of change. These are the new buildings. My God, that's impressive. So we're here at Wisley on this snowy day. Look at the snow, but it's the 12th of April and you won't believe that we've got snow today. And we're here, and this is Ella, a new apprentice, helping me prune the trees. So these trees have been out all winter and they've had no protection, and the leaves have all been emerging in the cold. So they're very hardy. So even when we get snow, they don't get hit back by the frost. Whereas on our nursery, we grow some of the things in the greenhouse and bring them out. So they do get affected, but these are not affected one bit. And the staff clearly are looking after the trees quite well. So if we walk through the trees, this is the big Chinese elm. Again, new growth coming. Ice and snow on the tree, but that's looking good. And this Trident Maple, it has completely emerged in the open without any protection. So this is virtually in perfect condition. They haven't been repotted for at least 5 or 6 years, but I'm in no rush to repot them because they look healthy. And look at this larch forest. This is one that I made in 1974, and it's still going strong. These trees have matured. The top on this one has died. The top on this one also died. If you come and have a look, what I did with the top, I cut the top off and I've taken a new leader. So if you look at it from the front there, the new leader appears to be growing quite well. So that will take over. I don't know whether to take the dead top off on this one yet, but because you do get trees in nature that do look like this, I'm not in a rush to take it off, because I think it does look natural. The rest of the trees are very natural looking. Look at all the ice and snow on the trees. Again, I don't think it'll do it any harm. And again, this massive mountain maple. Look at the nebari on this. Look at the nebari, the base. Beautiful base. Again, this tree has been at Wisley for the last, I think, 7 years or 8 years. Never been repotted, and it's still flourishing. This is the size of trees I like, and this is the size of trees we like to show in public places like this, because if you show a small tree, it tends to get lost, whereas a big tree has presence on the nursery. So this is in perfect condition. And this is one of the Scots pines that are dug up from our field, ordinary Scots pine that we grow on the field. Again, look at the beautiful nebari on this tree. Because it's kept pot bound, you see the roots are going round and round. It's forming a beautiful nebari. And again, this tree has not been repotted for maybe 10 years. But because it is fed regularly, it is in very good health. And all these branches, all these bendy branches, have been wired with wire to get the twists and bends. So this is not a collected tree. This is a tree that we grew on the nursery. So simply by wiring, we've got that shape. And this is a mega mulberry tree. Morus nigra, black mulberry or white mulberry, I don't know what it's called, with this huge trunk. Again, no protection whatsoever, and this produces a lot of fruit. So that's also in very good, healthy condition. Again, reminding you, this is the beech that I created from a tree we dug out of the hedge at Herons. 1986, when I got to Herons, it was dug up from near the gate, and it has been a bonsai ever since. And this has been at Wisley, I think, as long as this collection has been going, 1997. And let's walk a little further. This is a Bouvernences pine, and this Bouvernences pine is made from some of those Bouvernenses that we grow in the field. But this had training right from the very start. In fact, this was trained when I lived in my previous house in Purley, so this has been training since 1980, so it's 41 years in training, and I reckon this tree is probably only about 65 years old, but it has been training ever since. We put it in this round mica pot 2 years ago. You can still see the shape of the rectangular pot. It was in a very small pot, but we put it in a bigger mica pot. And the branches are pretty thick, but no matter. It looks powerful, looks as if it's got a lot of presence. And this is another of my favorite tridents. Again, this tree has not been repotted for about 10 years. And look at the beautiful nebari on this tree. Look at the nebari. Come close and see the nebari. You see how the veins of the trunk are going into the roots and the natural hollows here. Beautiful nebari. So this is our old timer. This has been here since 1997, has always been at Wisley. And again, coming into leaf without any protection, and they're perfectly fine. We do change the trees at Wisley. And this is a new tree, new Chinese juniper we brought today. So this will be changed maybe in a year's time. This is the beech forest. I can do a bit of pruning to this now. We need to shorten it like so, otherwise it gets too long. So this is what I'm going to do today. So on these visits, we keep trimming the trees so that they are kept in good condition. And I know it's a freezing day, all the soil is frozen, but we try to keep this weeded so that it doesn't get looking too unkempt. So this is another very old group that we've had. Now this tree has a lot of history. This is one of those rough bark Chinese elms, not the smooth bark elm. And this progressively died, but like all these oak trees that have hollow trunks, you look at the hollow and the bark is calloused right inside. So this is absolutely natural. I love this tree because it looks so natural. You actually see trees in nature that look like this. Again, in very good health. So I'm not worried about this. You notice that most of the pots we have here are mica pots, in case they fall off the stand, although none of the trees have ever fallen, so they're less likely to break. This is a ceramic pot, of course. This is a root over rock that I've had for many, many years. Again, looking quite good. I think the secret of them looking good is that they're fed regularly. If you feed them regularly, they should be okay. This is another maple that we've had here since 1997. It's always been here. And look at it. It's in perfect health, absolutely perfect health. Just a few tweaks to the new shoots is all I need to do. And again, because they've been emerging in the open, they're not protected at all. A lot of people wonder whether these trees need to be protected in winter. They're not protected. They're left out here right through the winter. And look at the condition. They're in perfect condition. The autumn color of this tree is very nice. Let's turn around and have a look at the view. Look at this rockery. All the cherry trees are in full bloom. Absolutely gorgeous. Although it has been snowing today, the snow has not settled, but Wisley always looks nice. So another trident maple here, and almost all the tridents at Wisley that we've kept here for the last God knows how many years, maybe 20 years, they've got beautiful nebari because we don't put them in bigger and bigger pots. If you keep it in the same pots, the roots really develop nicely. So again, no protection and hardly any trimming. I haven't been here for 6 months. The last time I came here was in November due to the corona lockdown, but all the trees are in good health. This is a larch that we grew in our field, great big larch. If you come closer, Jack, apparently the staff told me that apparently a mouse is living in here. So this is a mouse hole. You might get a mouse popping out, field mouse. So again, they're looking good, they're all budding. 1 or 2 dead branches, but I don't bother to take them out because it looks natural. In nature, you do get trees that have a few dead branches, so that doesn't worry me. See, perfectionists will say, oh, you've got some dead branches there, but it doesn't matter. So what? It looks okay. It looks okay. And again, in beautiful condition. Another of the trees that are what we call our homemade trees. This is an Austrian black pine, and this we produce from one of our field-grown material. Looking very good. This is a smooth bark Chinese elm. The smooth bark is different from the rough bark, and they are surprisingly hardy. They grow in southern China where they get summer temperatures of about 35, 40 degrees centigrade, but here they can stand -10, -12 degrees. So that doesn't come to any harm. Another of our Bouvernences pines that we developed from scratch, and when you see Bouvernensis grown as bonsai, you see how small the needles are. It's almost like a spruce Picea. Look at it, it's barely quarter-inch long, the needles. So this, believe it or not, is a pine, and because it's kept pot-bound, the needles get small. I know the pads are a bit not what a perfectionist would call 100%, but again, the tree has presence and it looks old, looks natural, so that doesn't worry me. Again, this ginkgo, this is the typical way ginkgos are grown. It hasn't started leafing, but if you come close, the buds are beginning to appear. Lots of lovely new buds, so this will soon grow well. I have ginkgo in the nursery, but I haven't been able to keep them alive as this one. This has been here since 1997, so this is an old tree. This is a Japanese white pine on its own roots, and trees like the Japanese white pine, which are grown on their own roots, have a different color to the ones which are grafted. The grafted ones have a deeper green. This, of course, is a very rare, very famous tree. This is the famous Blaw's juniper from the book Bonsai Masterclass, and I made this as a challenge in 18 months, and you'll see the picture of this tree in Bonsai Masterclass, and you can see how I plaited the branches. In the past, I used to be very fond of plaiting branches to make them thick, and that's a technique I used to use a lot. I don't use it very much now, but I used to use that. And this tree, when I first started making it, was no more than ½ inch thick. So 1987 the book was published, the book was written in 86, so this was made in 1984. So it's been created since 84, when the tree was maybe about 15 years old, about thumb thick. And look at it now, the trunk must be at least about 4 to 5 inches in diameter. So this is a very famous tree from Bonsai Masterclass. Another trident. And this is a tree we brought today because we changed the trees. And this is a humble conker tree. And this is a red one, the red conker. It's grafted there. And with a bit of luck, we might get a few flowers on this tree. You never know, so we'll see. This is a rigida. I like to show it because it's a genuinely old tree. And rigidas have the habit of losing branches, but because it's a different species, I don't mind keeping it. And here is an old crabapple with a beautiful gnarled old trunk. This tree would be about, I say 35, I reckon it's more like 40 years. And it's all covered in flower buds. So we're going to get a beautiful show of color from this tree. Oh, don't like to hide the trunk. Ugh. This is an old Satsuki Azalea. It has lovely flowers and beautiful old trunk. People in these public displays like to see old trees. It's not one of my best Satsukis, but at least it looks old, so I keep it here, and the flowers are very pretty. Some of the dead twigs I've got to prune out, so this is a job that we're going to do today. Another of our mountain maples. And just to show you how variable a tree can be, this has hardly started leafing, and yet I've shown you other mountain maples in the same display, and they're all in leaf. So although they're the same species, each tree is like a human being. They're all different, so they respond differently. So this one hasn't come into leaf yet. This is a Chinese juniper, Itoigawa on rock. There are 3 trees on this. One at the back and 2 in the front, grown over Itoigawa rock. I like to show it because there are not many root over rocks Chinese junipers. And this is a very old Deshojo, which again I've had here since 1997. And I know it may look a bit tired, but I still keep it here because the color is what attracts people most. And this is the great big Japanese yew garden tree, which we donated back in 1997. It was trimmed last year, so it's in good shape. And the white pine, we have altered the shape a bit. And this is a new view of Wisley, and of course everything is being changed. We don't recognize the old Wisley anymore. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tour today.